Hi, let's talk the bear spirit, shall we? This is my bear friend who's going to comfort me this time around uh, as I get used to talking to a camera lens. So, in the last video, I spoke about the bear in the context of hibernation and their dreaming aspects. And in this video, I want to focus on the protective and humbling aspects of the bear, specifically by sharing my ayahuasca experience a little bit because that's when the bear spirit first showed up for me. But this won't be like a play by play of the entire experience. Maybe I'll share that in a future video, but for now, this is just going to be a snippet from one ceremony that I participated in. Okay, so in preparation for the ceremony, I went to Costa Rica for it, by the way, with my sister, which was a huge help in my feeling ready to do this. Because she had already done it couple times before and just inspired me with her own revelations. And even though I wasn't ready um, to do it at that point, I was inspired that, maybe one day I'll be ready to have revelations of like this on my own to help me with my healing. And so it came to be that I was finally ready to do it, and she came with me. And right before the first night with the plant medicine, she put it in my ear that some folks experience nothing. And I just started getting really nervous that that was going to be me, that I was going to somehow not feel any effects and be blessed with the messages that plant medicine provides. And so I took a larger dose than maybe was necessary. I should also add that I went in with zero expectations, though, just that concern. Zero expectations, and I had some strong intentions for what I wanted answered if, that was what was going to help me on my journey. But I didn't expect anything. And when I took that large dose, um, I suffered. To put it simply, I was in a feverish pain that just was so intense for what felt like a couple hours, while everyone was, well into their journey. I was just in pain, regretting my decision to drink more because it took time for it to kick in for me, really. Um, and I really wanted to throw up, but that actually was a goal of mine going into this. I really didn't want to throw up. I refused. So I fought it for as long as I could. And then, of course, um, it came to be that I needed to. And the moment that allowed me to actually let myself throw up was I suddenly saw my symbol for a dear loved one in my life who had recently passed at that time. And it's not lost on me that I considered her to be like a mama bear, very protective in her energy, protective of her boys, her loved ones, and such a, big, strong presence. And she showed up to pat me on the back and tell me that it was okay for me to throw up. And as soon as she did that, it just all came out. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have put like a disclaimer that this is going to be about puke. Yeah, so it came out, and as soon as I threw up, that's when like everything was unlocked. Then suddenly my senses were able to see things in different ways. Just open is how I can describe it. And there's my sister now. Does she have a message for me? No, she just wants to open the window. Okay, so where was I? I was able to see everything. And when I tell you that I got every one of my questions answered, sorry, I can't stop thinking about her out the window. Okay. When I tell you that I got all of my questions answered, I got all of my questions answered. I also saw many animal spirits around me. That was a really big deal for me because I was doubting myself at the time. I just started my animal communication business, which seemed more like an idea than anything. It was a fledgling business. It still is in some ways. And I didn't even tell any of my friends that this is something that I did and was pursuing. So I had these thoughts like, if I can't tell my friends, how can I possibly, have a successful business? And so those things were swirling around in my mind. And to see the animal spirits around me and have a deep knowing that they're just waiting for us to tap into them, to ask them questions, to guide us, was just so reassuring and validating that they've always been there. And now, thanks to Mama Aya, grandmother medicine, I was able to like see them for once, um, which can't even explain it's like knew I couldn't see them, but I knew they were there, and I saw every one of them. Um, so take that how you will. But for example, like a spider came down to show me with its beautiful web that we are all connected, and it started making connections for me with seemingly random things to indicate to me that even though they seem random, they really all just had a greater purpose and a reason that I noticed those things at one point, which connected way more dots for me. And I had this like, okay, acceptance, like that was true, and that I don't have to think myself crazy when I return into the real world, that all of these coincidences are not coincidences. Um, so that was a big takeaway for me. And the bear spirit, okay, the focus of this video. She showed up in a big way, literally used my body, made me feel like a bear. And I was on all fours for like most of the night. And that was truly humbling because she wanted me to feel how close to the ground she was, um, and face my fears and the ugliness that I didn't want to display. Like really didn't want to be like perceived as gross, and that's why I refused to throw up. And then of course, like I'm down on fours, um, feeling so sick. I remember telling my sister who was there with me that I remember telling her, she says this is what bears feel like when they eat a bad berry. And my sister laughed, but for me it felt so profound. Like I knew the wisdom that these bears carry, whether it's passed down generationally for them, um, or they learn it as they go. They are so wise when it comes to herbs and different plant medicines, and understanding how they work and what they're good for. And so I felt like I had eaten a bad berry. And yeah, that was very humbling, which is an aspect that I'm actually so grateful for. The protective aspect made sense to me because, we all kind of associate the bear, like we speak of the bear as a mama bear, because we know that she's so protective of her young, and you don't want to mess with a mama bear. Um, yeah, so I guess I'll just end this with saying, what do I want to say, spirit guides? Ah, that's right. Okay. So I don't think that it's necessary for everyone to experience ayahuasca on their healing journey. Um, I think that readiness is super important when it comes to doing this, comes to deciding to do this. Research is super important and informs the readiness. Because I don't think all ceremonies and people conducting them are created equal. So you really want to know what you're getting yourself into, right? And then lastly, respect for the culture, for the elders, um, the lineage holders that carry this practice forward is so important. And I want to articulate that if you aren't in a place where you can appreciate and respect that, then I don't think you're ready. If you can, then I encourage you to wait for a full body yes that this is something that you feel called to do. I think that allows for a stronger experience, in my opinion, after hearing various experiences and various readiness levels. That would be my advice. And yeah, because the environment is so you want an environment that is comforting, because the experience itself can be so harsh and intense, and it's very uncomfortable to be shown your ugly parts and face them. And so you want to set yourself up for the best experience possible, just in an environment that you feel safe in. And it's not going to be perfect because you're in a new country trying something very new, surrounded by strangers, but um, you want to get as close to making that an ideal experience for yourself. Yeah, so readiness, research, respect. And I'll end this by saying that my biggest takeaways are there are no coincidences. I really believe that everything is connected. Thank you to the spider spirit for that one. Um, I felt myself just so supported by the universe. I went in with a lot of doubts, and I left feeling like, oh, there's no way I'm going to let these foolish fears get in the way of my purpose. My purpose, my reason for being here means so much more than you know feeling self-conscious and wondering what people will think of me. And I hold on to that feeling. Of course, once you integrate back into society, that state, that feeling sort of fades away, and old fears and um, thoughts will return. But I remember that I can tap into that state. I can speak to the animal spirits on a daily basis and be reminded of like the wisdom that we all have access to. Um, and I thank the bear spirit for that one. If this video resonated, give it a like and comment if you have any more questions about this or my ayahuasca experience. Um, and subscribe if you'd like to follow this journey. I'd really appreciate it. See you in the next video with the next animal.